All right, it's time to talk about the Washington Wizards. Look, I've been a Washington Wizards fan for a very long time, and there's been plenty of ups and downs, a lot of downs, which has resulted in this new rebuilding era for the Washington Wizards this season. We've entered a new era in DC, and I think this could be the start of something special. Now, it's kind of weird for me to say that because we've started the season off 2-15, but just give me a chance to explain. First, we got to start back about 10 years ago because that was a very hopeful time for Wizards fans, as we have both John Wall and Bradley Beal in the backcourt, leading the Wizards to some of their best seasons in a very long time. Like, the Wizards have a very underwhelming resume compared to a lot of other NBA franchises, with only one championship in 1978, but the Wizards drafted John Wall in 2010 and Bradley Beal in 2012, and it signified a new era for DC. It was at this time I started watching basketball more, and I became a Wizards fan as well, and watching John Wall play were some of the best memories I have. And the Wizards were starting to build a core leading into the 2016-17 season. We had people like Kelly Oubre, Marcin Gortat, Otto Porter, Markieff Morris, and we made a run to the second round in the playoffs where we had a back and forth series with the Celtics. I'm sure you probably remember John Wall's insane game winner in Game 6.
He gives it to Wall. Working against Bradley for three. John Wall!
We had the chance to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, but Isaiah Thomas had other plans. The duo of John Wall and Bradley Beal never really got a chance to fully develop because injuries both plagued them and plagued the seasons ahead into 2020. John Wall tore his Achilles in 2018 and made him sit for 2 seasons, and the Wizards missed the 2019 playoffs as a result, and they were invited to the bubble in 2020 but lost their final 8 games of the season. And it would be later in December 2020 that the Wizards traded John Wall to the Rockets for Russell Westbrook, and they actually made the playoffs in 2021 but were eliminated in the first round. After the Westbrook era, the Wizards made a pivotal trade which affects even today, because this is when we got Kyle Kuzma. Bradley Beal continued to suffer through injuries during this time, but the Wizards made a big trade in 2022 when we got Kristaps Porzingis. But in Wizards fashion, we continued to struggle, and it was right after the season with Kristaps that the Bradley Beal era was officially over for Washington. In April 2023, the Wizards even fired their GM Tommy Shepard, and they were pretty much cleaning house for another new era in Washington, one that took away the star power and is bringing up and coming talent that has a chance to become something special. So with that brief history of how we got here, this is the current state of the Wizards rebuild in 2024. Like I said, the Wizards hit a full reset button. Bradley Beal got traded for Chris Paul, and Chris Paul was later traded for Jordan Poole, and Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma were the face of the team for 2023 and 2024. But Jordan Poole didn't really pan out this season, and we ended 15-67 as a result. I mean, it's way more than Jordan Poole, but that was just one part of the problem. But we've taken some steps in the right direction because we have JP, we have Kyle Kuzma, but the draft picks are really where everything is changing for Washington. So let's go back to 2023. The Wizards traded picks with the Pacers on draft night to get Bilal Coulibaly, one of my favorite players on the Wizards right now. And then in 2024, we selected Alex Sarr with the 2nd pick, Bub Carrington with the 14th pick, and Keyshawn George with the 24th pick. And so far, these players have become pivotal pieces in the Wizards rotation for the first few games, and the rebuild is now in full swing. So now for this season, this is the current roster on the screen, and as of recording this video, the Wizards are currently 2-15. I actually had a chance to go to the Pacers game on November 24th, and it was a really fun time seeing the Wizards play despite their struggles. It was just nice to see them play in person and really inspired me to make this video. So far, the Wizards have lost 14 of their 17 total games by at least 10 points, but we've beat the Atlanta Hawks twice, including once in the in-season tournament, and there are only 2 wins of the season. Despite all the L's, we're starting to see some bright spots in the team. Last year, Jordan Poole was getting clowned because midway through the season he got benched, but under the new coach Brian Keefe, he's really learning how to become a starting point guard. Now Jordan Poole is really filling into this starting role, and he's had a really solid start to the beginning of the season. I feel like last year he was really struggling with his confidence, like he was rushing shots and making just bad plays on offense, but this season he's really choosing his shots, using screens, and attacking the rim with the ball in his hands. This is like the first season where he's really taken on the leadership role for the team. He's been preaching a lot of patience, saying that good things take time.
Not a lot of things I would say need to change. It's just a matter of figuring things out. Good things take time. Get back in the lab, let's keep working. We got a lot of young guys. We got guys in new pieces. We got guys who are out. We got guys who are in. So there's a lot of moving stuff, but shit, man, we love this game. That's why we play. So
he is an NBA champion after all, and he can teach some of these newcomers some necessary things to take their game to the next level. And speaking of, we got to talk about the rookies who have been a pivotal part for the Wizards this season. Bub Carrington has been a starter for most of the season, and he's been one of the biggest surprises for the Wizards this year. Right now, he's averaging 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists on 40% shooting, but he's really comfortable with the ball in his hands and can make plays, plus create open looks for himself. The problem that he's been struggling with is just being efficient, but that's going to come with time as he fleshes out his game. Keyshawn George is a 6'8" forward from the University of Miami, and NBA scouts are always looking for wings who can space the floor, and Keyshawn George has been making and taking most of his shots from outside the arc. Like with Bub, he needs time to flesh out his game, but he has the perfect person to learn from because Kyle Kuzma is a shooting wing himself and also an NBA champion. This season, he's been struggling from the field, shooting 26% from 3, but don't let that percentage fool you because he really can knock down the 3, and he has a pretty fire celebration as well. The positive thing is he's been getting a lot of minutes because of the rebuild, and that's really going to help a lot of these players develop their game. Most importantly, Alex Sarr, who is a 2nd overall pick and a 7-foot big man with the ability to shoot outside. He's tall, athletic, and can be a constant lob threat. His game is very raw right now, and his field goal percentages show that, but he's really been shining on the defensive end due to his long wingspan. He's been relying on his teammates to get a lot of his shots this season, but if he can really learn how to create shots for himself and knock down the 3-ball consistently, this dude is going to be a star. And speaking of future stars, I gotta mention my boy Bilal Coulibaly, a 2nd-year forward for the Wizards. Probably my favorite player on the Wizards. I got his rookie jersey last season. I've been a fan of him, and I can see his potential coming into the league. Like, he's already become an elite defender, and the coaching staff has been putting him on difficult matchups all season, which is great for his development. The one part that he really needs to work on is being a threat offensively. He had a great start to the season, but he's really fallen into a slump during the past few games. But him alongside Alex Sarr increases their defensive efforts so much, but he can space the floor and be a problem on defense. If he can get his flow on the offensive end, he's gonna be a future star. Now, all these young guys are in a good position to learn because we have some good veterans on the team like Kyle Kuzma, Jonas Valanciunas, Malcolm Brogdon. Kyle Kuzma has not contributed much this season, but he's been dealing with a lot of injuries at the beginning of the season. He was even offered to leave the Wizards last year and join the Mavericks, but he refused to stay with this rebuild. I think he'll be a guiding light for this team if he's really involved, and he can teach a lot of the younger guys, especially Keyshawn George. And Jonas Valanciunas has seen a decrease in his minutes lately, and I don't know if he's going to be a trade piece this season because I've been seeing a lot of talk about it, but he's a much needed paint presence for the Wizards, especially on offense, and he's been really productive this season. Malcolm Brogdon missed the beginning of the season with an injury, but he just recently returned for the Wizards, and I feel like with him on the floor, it just organizes the offense a lot more, and you can see when they have the younger guys, they look a lot more frantic, they throw a lot of turnovers, but I feel like when Malcolm Brogdon's on the floor, he's able to slow things down. He said the team was taking baby steps, and he could be a voice of respect or reason in the locker room, so there's a lot to be excited about, especially with the coach Brian Keefe. He's the 26th coach in the organization's history, and they even said he's a proven motivator and connector of people. He was the interim head coach after Wes Unseld Jr. was fired last season, and now has officially signed as the head coach. I mean, he has the resume to lead this team to greatness. He has like 17 years of experience in the NBA, and even James Harden said that Brian Keefe was somebody that helped him with his work ethic. Hopefully he can instill that into a lot of these young guys where they can grow, and with all these pieces, I know that this team can be something special within the next couple of seasons. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but that's what a rebuild is. It takes time. It's hard to look at the positives being a Wizards fan, but I hope that this video did offer some insight into what to be excited for these next few seasons. And it's tough to watch sometimes, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but it's always good to keep like a glass half full perspective and see what this team could turn into. I think we'll end up trading a few people potentially before the trade deadline, but I hope the core people I covered in this video really show why this team is more promising than they look on paper. But regardless, I'm gonna keep supporting through the bad times and through the eventual good. But let me know what you think about the Wizards roster so far. What do you think about like these young players coming up? With that said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. The NBA season is in full swing, and let's see how things play out in DC.